how to read. Like basically like we pick up a random passage because I think like everyone has so many different needs and different styles, and so it's just kind of like offering like, okay, here's a couple of things to keep in mind here. Like I'll kind of do my spiel on, you know, the LSAT makers like diversity. They are very concerned about the environment, compare, contrast, team A, team B, and go. And then we just read and cover content and then just answer people's questions.
And this is what person B is thinking. And I wonder if this is why person B is thinking it. How would you respond if you were person B responding to person A? Is that what happened? Yes. Well, we predicted that. Or no. Well, I don't.
It's like a giant game of Clue.
Yes. And we make everything. Like, if you think this is fun, when we do reading comp, we bring everything to life because you have to literally fake it till you make it in reading comp. That is
somebody who also has ADD. Like you get my live commentary. It's just kind of like, what?
And how do people with ADD stay focused on the LSAT when you have 35 minutes to read 4 extremely dense, typically very boring passages? You have to like there's one passage, it's about purple, like some type of purple bacteria, right?
Strife. I think Katie mentioned this one the other day. She calls
it like Lucy, and throughout the whole thing, and she's like, this is what Lucy is doing, and this is what Lucy is doing, or this is what like, and she literally turns this bacteria into a person on like, oh, this is why I like Lucy, or this is why I don't like Lucy.
I love it.
Passage that many people miss 3 or 4 questions on. That it's a tough passage, and you read it and you're like, oh, I completely understand, and I know whose side I'm on. Brittany, who's also listening right now, she's at Hobby Lobby with her kids, so she can't join us in the video.
What is Hobby Lobby?
Hobby Lobby? Is that not a California thing?
I mean, it might be, but I have never seen one before.
It's like where dreams happen and wallets get destroyed.
So like Target.
Yes, I would say Target and Hobby Lobby would have a very similar audience.
I love it. Sure. I live next to a Target. I have to like control myself.
Crafty people. So you like art, like you would love Hobby, like you would fall in love with.
So it's like Michael's,
but better. It's like in between Michael's.
Even better.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to rank Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, and I don't know what other craft stores there are, but
Hobby Lobby.
I was tempted to.
Hobby Lobby
really
like, blows it out of the water. Yes. Yeah, you can put that in the chat too. How do you rank Hobby Lobby compared to other craft stores? Okay, so what were we saying? Something about, Brittany, I know I was gonna say, she's a 2nd grade teacher, so she can kill her reading comp too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so how do you study reading comp?
You read a lot. No, like I actually like I think it's making more space to read more passages, but then also thinking about like what was difficult for me there. And I think too, I'm kind of like an LSAT yogi. I think I get really into psychology and like self-assessment, but like thinking about how did this make me feel? Because all like the test is really based on how can we make sure that you buckle under pressure? How can we make you panic as much as possible? And so if you're moderating like what made me panic, what was my response to said panic, and kind of finding your trigger point. So like if you're somebody who gets absolutely triggered by like long, dense sentences, what are your strategies to combat that and practicing that? I think a lot of people make the mistake of just trying to read a bunch or just on all the LSAT sections, like doing as much as possible. And kind of finding your trigger point. So like, oh, it's me. And I think like it's practicing is good. It means you're getting exposed to it. But at some point, like if you're practicing and you don't have a plan of what you're practicing and what muscle you're supposed to be exercising, you're kind of wasting your time. And it's like, there's no need to work harder. We just kind of have to think about what's one thing you want to implement when you read this passage. Like, what's my strategy that I'm really trying to hunker down on? Because the more you can do that, the more repetition you get actually honing in certain strategies, you'll be able to pull those up on test day and be like, okay, taking the calm breath of reading in excellence here and just, okay, I'm going through this paragraph. It is not dense, it is my friend, and I'm going to understand all of it. It sounds really cheesy, but it's great.
It's 15 to 17 sentences, and all you have to do is understand them one at a time. Break it down to that level. And so many of us, it's okay like you are not going to be able to do like the strategies we're doing and have the energy to do it. Like look at us like talk with our hands and talk about reading comp. We probably could do 2 sections in a row back to back and do decent on
No,
because
I could not.
you could okay. I probably
I get tired.
because last is what I was gonna say. I've built up the stamina to be able to do that. But when I started studying, there was no way I could do that. So start with on one reading comp passage, just reading a paragraph or two and translating it as you go and build your strength up. So just do one passage a day or one passage in this and give yourself unlimited time and really work on the translating and understanding part and don't focus on the speed. Because it's okay that you can't do 4 passages back to because it takes so much energy. These things are so hard. It's such a hard test.
Yeah, I tell people, I was like, you don't have to do a whole section every day. Like you can get away, like if you're at the point where you're studying and just trying to keep your skills up and building a gradual improvement, like it's okay to do 1 or 2 a day. I think that's a really good goal. And then, maybe you're focusing in on logic games on that day and you do your 2 passages. And then the next day you do, like maybe it's a timed section of LR and then like 2 passages. Like you just want to make sure you're exposing yourself to it and knowing like what are you implementing.
You had something else that was really interesting. Like, I don't think very many of these people watching are actually LSAT people. I think they're just like people that are friends with me on Facebook.
If you ever want to take an LSAT,
If you ever want to take the LSAT,
it's not that scary.
It's our trial round. Yeah, if you want to be a lawyer, we can help you get there.
Have you heard that? Did you watch D and Z's reaction to that? Like to all those pop culture references about lawyers? And then there's like this one video where it's like, "Don't be a lawyer," and it was like the most catchy song, even though it was very incorrect.
If any of you know Dean Z from the University of Michigan, if you just want to like drop her in the comments and tag her for me, that would be the 5 people watching. That would be great, so she can come watch this and let me in to their law school. There was something else that you said that was really interesting about studying though.